All right, welcome to another webinar series that we're doing this year called Grow Your Business in 2024. Today, I'm going to share the 3 digital marketing strategies that you should probably have a look at if you are running a business, regardless whether in Australia or not. But yeah, these are general concepts that I found to be quite effective right now. So a little bit about myself. My name is Alexei. I do a whole bunch of different things, and hopefully you get to know a little bit more about myself and what I do. Aside from obviously digital marketing, I do things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I love fishing. But most of all, I do love spending time with my family. That's my wife, Christina, my baby daughter, Vera, and my twin boys, Nick and Leon, right there as well. I also like to, spend a lot of time outdoors. I love hiking. In fact, that's one of the things I do to bring a lot of men together and address things like mental health. I guess over COVID, that has become one of the really big issues that I have identified. And I guess getting people to go for a walk, surrounded by nature does allow for a lot of conversations. I think spending time on the beach is probably one of those things that you must do if you live in Australia. If you don't do, I do consider that a crime. So I do enjoy the beach, and I do love a good coffee, especially with my boys. In terms of my values, I do like to challenge myself. Hence why this webinar. I do like to, share and learn. About ways to improve businesses, help with sales, digital marketing, and other things as well. And for that reason, I have actually started a podcast called Better Business Podcast last year. I'm up to my 60th episode. So if you do want to check it out, we are on all the major platforms, and I do interview a bunch of interesting business owners as well. I guess overall, I like inspiring and motivating business owners by providing ideas as to what else you could be doing in your business to do better. And overall, I do like to create positive change. That's my motto. So why this webinar? I guess for me, it is one of those effective strategy that allows me to build effective, relationships. And, relationships, I think, is really what it's all about. Getting to know what people do, how they basically run their business, what their values are, really does provide, a lot of support and also a lot of ideas as to, where we can actually, go as a unit together. I think it's very important to understand what's happening in the markets as well. And I do tap into that quite a fair bit. So markets are changing always. And I am very passionate about helping businesses grow. Sometimes it's really a matter of advice. Sometimes it's really a matter of understanding what's working and not working. But overall, today I'd like to share with you some effective strategies that I've discovered over, probably the last decade, and that are specifically effective right at this moment in 2024. So I guess the question that you got to really ask yourself is, where are you wanting to be next year, same time next year? You're here right now, a year from now on. If you're going to keep doing what you're doing, you're probably going to end up the same or worse. You're at the mercy of the market. And if you are wanting to do better, what is it that you're actually doing? What's the plan? I think a lot of people really struggle to basically put together a plan because we typically are quite busy with what we do. Which means that, unless we attend webinars like this one or do talk to other business owners, it's very difficult for us to understand what we can actually do different. But I think it's very important to understand, where it is that you actually want to be and how do you actually measure that? When it comes to your marketing, is it the number of inquiries that you're getting? Is it the engagement? Is it the number of sales? What is it that's actually helping you get better, worse, or same in a year's time? I think a lot of people do sort of hope for the best, but they fail to measure the whole thing. And I think when it comes to digital marketing, there's a lot of factors specifically that impact the whole thing. Now, aside from digital marketing, if you talk about things like referrals and so on, you do need to understand how to break that down as well. Because as far as I understand, in order for you to have networking opportunities or referrals, you do need to spend the time with those people. You do need to spend the time to meet new people. And overall, it may be worth a while to maybe join a network like, I don't know, BNI, BX, or whatever you find that aligns with your values. But very important to understand how to measure the whole thing. So in terms of what I do, I actually run a whole bunch of different businesses. My main business is called Your Easy Web Solutions. You may have seen us on The Current Affair in October last year. I'm not going to give it away. You may want to just Google it up. We had a bit of a fight with Kanye West, out of all people. Don't ask why. I run a business called Homestyle Cleaning as well. I've got a smoke alarms business, and I've got a whole bunch of other businesses, which actually allow me to test a lot of things in my own environment before I actually implement any of these strategies and I guess tactics for any of my customers. I do a lot of automation because I find that overall there's a lot of awesome tools available which many businesses fail to implement. And having effective automation really does save you a lot of time and does allow you to get better results overall. I do a lot of consulting and training for businesses when it comes to marketing and sales. And like I said, yeah, for me, I use a lot of these businesses to experiment to see exactly how digital marketing works for an online store, understand how the logistics work, understand how virtual assistants work. That's what this phone manager business is all about. And overall, I guess it's just about understanding how to work smarter as opposed to working harder. So the three strategies I wanted to share with you today are partner events, omni-channel marketing, and AI and automation. Now, they're all very different, and I guess I should have probably run an event for these separately. But the whole idea of today's event is just to get to know you and, see if any of these align. Because if you find that, hey, partner events, for example, is something I'm very interested in, I would absolutely love to have a chat to you about your business and how we could potentially help you implement something like that, or maybe even work together. So let's talk about it. So why events? I find events like this one specifically, they do allow you to establish an authority. Being a speaker or running an event allows you to position yourself as the authority in front of a group. It's a good way to utilize your lists. Now, every business I come across has got a lot of lists, whether it's people who have inquired, whether it's people who have bought from the business, whether it's people who sign up to your newsletters. And a lot of the time, these lists are idle. So many businesses don't do anything with them. So the easiest thing you can do is actually send out an email blast to those businesses, inviting them to an event, whether it's a webinar online or whether it's a catch up at a local hotel or anything like that. That is the concept. It's really all about added value. It's all about understanding what sort of value you can add to those customers. Now, a lot of people misunderstand the actual partner events, and they sort of turn that into this whole sales fest. They want to go and pitch to attendees. Now, I'm sure you've been to those sort of events, and they probably just a once-off type of thing. When I talk about partner events, it's really more about the aim of connecting with other business owners and understanding where you could potentially build partnerships with the hope of eventually getting new clients throughout the actual referral networks that you'll be establishing. An easier way, I guess, that everyone explains is the 6 degrees of separation. And when I was looking for a good diagram, I found this interesting one about Kevin Bacon. Apparently, back in 2016, Facebook did a bit of an experiment to see how many degrees of separation it would take an average person to connect to Kevin Bacon. And, the 6 degrees of separation in this case actually ended up being 3.5. Now, what I'm trying to, outline here is that connecting to people, especially if you know exactly who you're after as an alliance partner, is actually a lot easier than you think. And if you utilize tools like Facebook or LinkedIn or even your email list, you'll be able to connect with some of the interesting customers and potentially alliance partners. For us, we find working with other agencies, coaches, consultants, software providers does create good opportunities to basically work together to deliver more value for our mutual customers. So in terms of the basic process when it comes to partner events, I would strongly recommend starting by defining a target market. So who are you after? And I'll give you a bit of an example just to clarify things a little bit. And overall, what are your goals? What are you actually wanting to achieve there? Do you want people to understand, what your business does? Or do you want people to, I don't know, sign up to some sort of a consultation with you, or maybe just grab a coffee? Or are you basically just wanting to build your database through this partner event in order to then be able to promote to them? Like, you have to really understand your goals. I think the biggest problem a lot of the time is people get into various activities without having a set goal. The easiest way to run these partner events, in my opinion, is to run webinars. Webinars are obviously easier for people to join from everywhere. Physical events, have got their own pros and cons, but overall it comes down to timing and venue. But I must say that physical events have actually worked quite well for us over the last few years since COVID, because I think a lot of people have missed meeting people face to face. So if you're able to put together something at your local venue, I reckon you'd be surprised how many people will actually turn up. Utilize your partner list. So if you're connecting with, let's say, I don't know, an accountant, a business coach, or somebody else who basically fits that target audience and has got the customers that you're after, get them to utilize their list to promote your message. I mean, we work with a few business owners and business communities that allow us to get, dozens of people quite easily by sending out an email blast to their list. There's always an idle list of people who will be happy to align with you if the values align. And overall, if you're hoping to do any paid marketing, let's say through Facebook or Google to promote your event further, you can share that budget with other participants. In fact, businesses like accountants or lawyers have got such a high, lifetime value of their customers that for them to invest a couple of $100 actually is really a no-brainer. Now, in relation to, I guess, the whole event, the biggest thing that you really got to focus on is to make sure that you can follow up. Because I've seen many events where people run a really good event, really well structured, but they don't do any follow-ups afterwards. And follow-up is really what creates a good in-depth conversation, because chances are if you're going to have, more than a dozen people, you'll probably struggle to connect with each person and really get to know exactly what they do. If anyone's a member of BNI, you probably would understand exactly what I'm talking about. But the whole idea is really to ask questions and understand what the business is all about. So 3 questions to ask yourself is, who has my ideal customer before me, and who is not in competition with me? So for us specifically, like I said, it was business coaches, accountants, other design agencies that we can actually partner with in order to reach our ideal customers. So how can you help them? What is it that they actually need help with? And what value can you add to them? So here is an example of an event we did last year with a business coach that is located in Melbourne that specializes in dental marketing, named Julie. Now, Julie has been doing this for quite some time. We found her just purely by doing a search in Google and then connecting over LinkedIn. And then we found that, she was quite interested to explore potential partner avenues. And our mutual target market was dental practice owners and managers. And that's exactly what we sort of agreed to target. Who has them? Accountants, coaching, and so on. So obviously I've identified her. She had quite a list, and she was also able to promote to quite a couple more people. And then the whole idea was to help each other grow and get new customers. So we wanted to grow our list. And the value add that we found was CPD points. Now, that was quite interesting. CPD stands for continuous professional development. So if any of you are in the market of working with professional businesses like dentists or lawyers or accountants, they do have various criteria in order to meet the CPD points by attending various events such as this one, in order to basically comply with the regulations within those industries. So we basically put together an event called Dental Practice Success Webinar on Marketing, Sales, and Team Training, which Julie and I have done together. That was February last year. And in exchange for attending, people basically got CPD points. It was a free event, and we ended up with 56 people registering for an event and probably about 30 people showing up. You can find this on our YouTube channel as a recording to see what that event was like. But this is a good example of how you could potentially align with somebody in order to get through to that target market. And we've had some really good customers come through that specific event. Hopefully that makes sense as an example for you. If you guys have got any questions about this, make sure you use chat, or basically just let's do a bit of a conversation at the end of the webinar. So the next strategy I wanted to speak to you about was omni-channel marketing. So omni-channel marketing is where you use multiple marketing channels to reach a single target. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the number of interactions it requires right now for a customer to reach you, it's not a single point of, visiting your website and making an inquiry. It's a lot more complicated these days. And this is something that we call a customer journey. Now, a customer journey is where a customer would potentially be, speaking to someone to say, hey, okay, this is what we need, or this is what another person has done. And then from there, they either start researching or basically start, behaving in a certain way in order to find more information. So there are things called micro moments that we like to call, which are really interaction with things like YouTube, Google, Facebook, and the likes. So typically a person would, let's say, do a search in Google or on YouTube if they basically want to understand more information about how a process works. And then from there, we were able to tap into this whole thing by things like YouTube ads, or if someone's on Facebook, we can actually target them specifically based on their parameters like, gender, age, social status, income, and so on and so on. There's many different parameters. The whole idea is to really get in front of those customers earlier so that basically we can start creating trust by basically aligning the message with their problem, if that makes sense. So overall, if you look at any conversion attribution, which is basically what generates the conversion throughout the whole marketing, you will find many networks like Google or Facebook actually break down those conversion values into decimals, which means that each of the network, if each one of the networks actually contributes to the end conversion in a fractional perspective. So let's say Google may have a 0.5% conversion recorded, and sometimes people go, "What's that all about?" Well, it may have started with a Google search, but at the end of the day, it was Google My Business, the actual reviews that have converted that particular visitor to a call or an inquiry. I hope that makes sense. But omnichannel marketing is really just going beyond the one channel, which is where a lot of people make the mistake by just doing SEO or Google ads or Facebook, and then they go and compare those things. The idea really is to combine those channels to map the customer journey in order to understand how those touch points basically come across all those networks in order to end up in an inquiry, sale, or a call, whatever your conversion. And to give you a bit of a visual, customer journey can be fairly complicated. And a lot of the time, many people wait for a problem to occur in order for people to take action. So for example, plumbers, they heavily rely on things like Google marketing, which is where a person may come through to Google to start searching for, plumber near me or emergency plumber if something has happened, where, if that's the only thing they do, the cost per conversion goes right through the roof. In fact, it all starts with cost per click, because once there are too many people advertising for that particular emergency, the cost per click is basically being driven up. And if anyone's familiar with Google ads for plumbers, you'd be paying, $20, $30 per click in order to basically be seen in Google. Now, in order to bring that cost per click down, and in order to get a better result, the better way to go around this would be to actually position your brand in front of the customer before they make any inquiries. Now, what I mean by that is if you were running any Facebook ads or, let's say, YouTube ads specifically for people who fit your target audience early on, that cost per conversion would be a lot lower, because by the time people start searching, they would actually recognize your brand and would have a little bit more trust. Now, how this basically is, done in traditional sense, you'll see, billboards, buses, radio advertising, and this is how we get familiar with brands. So when we search and a familiar brand pops up, we naturally tend to be selecting that brand as opposed to all the others based on the actual trust behind the thing, unless there's obviously some sort of a message that fits specifically the problem. But what I'm trying to explain to you here is that with a lot of businesses, they do rely on that search interaction too much, and there's too many other businesses that are doing the same thing. And if you obviously spend a little bit more time in awareness, educating your target audience, you will be able to get through to customers better. Now, you may think, well, okay, tried awareness, maybe do some things on social media, doesn't convert as well, doesn't get me the results. Well, it's not really supposed to, guys. It's really supposed to connect you with that target market. And then it's at the mercy of timing. Now, if people see your brand, whether you're a skin clinic or a dentist or something like that, they may not take action straight away, because it's all about timing. Now, if you get some interaction through, let's say, Facebook ads or YouTube ads, you can then do remarketing in order to reach a person within a period of time. But the whole idea is really to start with a distinct target market where, okay, let's say in the case of plumbers, majority of the time you're dealing with homeowner. Majority of the time you may be dealing with people of certain age, certain income levels, certain areas. And by this, you can actually select a target audience and create an awareness campaign, which is not going to cost you very much, yet will give you a very good chance to get customers from in the future. And then from there, it all really comes down to having the right message. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you guys like to have a chat about this in more detail, happy to address this at the end as well. Now, why omni-channels? Like I said, leads are getting too expensive. Whichever market you're in, I'm pretty sure you've seen some keywords that just go crazy, especially on Google Ads. If you're doing SEO and your SEO company is, trying to basically rank you #1 for a particular keyword, you may struggle purely because the competition is very much fierce. And overall, there are a lot of external factors affecting that as well. Another problem is that there is a limited number of opportunities available at each stages of the actual marketing funnel. What I mean by that is, let's say if you're spending $1,000 a month on your Google ads and everything's going great, you're getting a very good cost per conversion, but you wanted to, let's say, double that or triple that, you will find that by doubling or tripling that, you will potentially reach the entire market that searches for your keywords. And once you reach that, there's no way for you to go beyond that. Now, typically it's not a couple of $1,000, it's a lot more than that. But I have seen a lot of businesses that go, hey, we spent 10 grand, it's working really well, let's go and spend $50,000. And then what they find is that they'll probably spend 20, and then they're not able to replicate the growth. So the only way to actually reach more people and get more conversions is to actually do omni-channel in order to qualify people into the pipeline and build that trust in order to be able to scale in the future. I hope that makes sense. And I guess another factor to consider is that customer journey is evolving. So if you set up an omni-channel campaign today, I think in 6 months' time, you definitely need to review the whole thing and understand exactly what's working and not working. And in terms of analytical data, you really have to make sure that your Google Analytics is set up properly in order to capture all that acquisition information. Because if you haven't got that set up or something equivalent, you will struggle to potentially make decisions unless you really have got in-depth conversations with your customers and you understand exactly where they've come from. Overall, I guess the fundamental idea behind all this is that there's only 3% of people who are ready to buy from you. And this is something that we call the buyer's world. And then I guess there's another 7%. And look, these figures are average. There's another 7% that's open to buying. So what that means is that 3% of people that are doing search could potentially be expanded to 7 if you did the awareness campaign and basically got through with your message earlier. There's another 60% of people, which is the majority of the market, that is not really thinking about, you specifically or the service or the need, but it only takes a trigger for those people to basically go and start looking for something. Now, buying journey can be complicated, especially when it comes to like external needs, like let's say buying a gift for somebody, because a lot of the time people sort of look at their target market from the perspective of, okay, this is my target market, this is who they are, this is what they're buying, and this is how they're buying. However, in my experience, I've done a lot of work with the hair and beauty industry. As one of my customers is a company called Shortcut Software. They basically have found that a lot of people who are buying are actually buying for somebody else for that specific reason. Gift cards, gift vouchers, all that sort of stuff works out really, really well. Now, people are not going to search for, let's say, I don't know, Botox voucher or anything like that. They typically do a lot of research differently based on partners' needs and what's actually available as well. So there's a completely another way to address the whole thing. And I guess 30% of the entire market is purely just not interested in the entire thing altogether. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, to give you some tips, I think what's important is to understand what you're doing right now and what's potentially missing. So if you have a look on the right, that is a very standard marketing funnel. And I think a lot of people forget about the traditional marketing. You can actually run traditional marketing and digital marketing side by side as long as you understand how the whole thing sort of comes together. Now, traditional marketing is things like flyers, when you, let's say, visit your chiropractor or a doctor, your business cards, potentially fridge magnets and so on and so on. It's the idea of engaging an audience and educating those people. And then from there, it's about creating that interest and then desire in order for people to take action. So in my opinion, I think, rather than trying to sort of pitch to everybody at the awareness level, which is what I'm seeing through social media quite a lot. And for that specific reason, the cost per conversion typically is quite high, or I often hear that social media marketing is not working as well as Google. Like I said, shouldn't be comparing those two together. But if you could qualify your audiences before attempting to convert that, you'll get a much better result. Now, what I mean by that is you can qualify an audience by getting those people to, let's say, watch a video or interact with an ad before you actually pitch them with a particular offer. So in the case of, let's say, a med spa or a beauty business, you could potentially share a video of before and after if you're pitching to a particular group of people based on their interest. And then from there, come up with an offer that could potentially be attractive to them. Hey, we have an Easter special, or we've got something that comes up specifically around the problem that you're after. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And I guess, the whole idea is to use the remarketing mechanisms to glue all the engagements together throughout the funnel. And obviously this is available through, Meta and Google networks. All you got to do is just have those pixels enabled on your website in case you're wondering how. But like I said, I think it's a good idea to map out that journey and map that out over the actual marketing funnel, just to give you some ideas as to where these people are, because a lot of the time people purely end up fishing in the wrong pond. And if your marketing is very intuitive, or potentially your marketing has been set up by somebody else and you haven't really looked at it, I strongly recommend for you to potentially try to understand where your customers have come from and what's actually worked from the perspective of what's being put in place by your marketing company or your marketing processes. So to give you some more tips, YouTube video, I think that's one thing that a lot of people are not doing. Why I say that is currently, if you are to compare the number of advertisers on Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, versus YouTube specifically, and YouTube is owned by Google, by the way, it's about 5-1. So you've got, 5 times as many advertisers on Meta, which means that you're obviously competing with a lot more people. Whereas on Facebook, there's a lot of opportunities. YouTube also has got very specific audiences. YouTube knows a lot about you. When people are searching for things like, let's say, pet door installation, they basically can dig down and create audiences across Google and YouTube to find out if you've just, adopted a puppy, for example, because they know exactly where you've been. They know, according to your Google Maps, that you've just been, visiting a vet or or one of those adoption centers. And then, if you've been to any pet shops and stuff like that, they've got all that data. So they're able to actually make assumptions based on your activity in order to understand what you're like and put you in a specific audience. Now, it is very cost effective. You'll find that YouTube views probably start at about 1 cent. And overall, if you're after a specific market, even if you set up like a $5 campaign per day, you would reach a whole ton of people. Now, there's 3 different types of ads, and obviously there may be new ones depending on when you're going to be watching this recording. But the most common one that I'm sure you've seen is a skippable pre-roll video, which can really be of any length. And a lot of the time people use this particular ad format just to promote their views. Now, the first 5 seconds used to be free. I'm not sure exactly if that's the case anymore, but the whole idea was if people choose to skip the ad right afterwards, it actually gave advertisers the free exposure. Now, they may have changed that, but that was the way they've actually launched this whole thing. The non-skippable ads are 15 and 30-second videos, which basically pop up, and you'll see the bigger brands like Airbnb pushing them quite a lot. And then there's 6-second bumper ads. They can't be skipped. They're very quick, and they typically designed for the mobile and those short videos. So they work quite well, and you hardly notice them, but they're there, and they really do plant a seed in your mind about the actual brand and what they do. So to give you some ideas for the recipe, and on the right, you see the video that we've put together. It's a 30-second TrueView video that we put together. We found that the winning format is to feature the name of your company, because overall you want to know, who those people are and what they do. So, and from there, you need a clear call to action. Do you want people then to, once they see your video, to come to your website or give you a call or basically download something? Because in addition to the video, you can also have specific banner formats that can actually accompany your video, and then from there you can get people to click on those. I'm sure you've seen those ads popping up, which is either a banner within the video or on the side of the whole thing, but those work out quite well. In terms of extras, if you're really thinking, what else can I put in the actual video, testimonials always work well. It's always good to see real people sharing their opinions and experiences. So if you watch our video, you'll see a couple of our clients sharing the experiences. And then, things like offers. If you run an offer of some sort, it's a good idea to squeeze that in and then tie that into your call to action. And if you're looking for credibility, brands you work with always work well, especially if you're in the B2B market. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And if you're doing social media advertising through Meta platform, I've got some marketing material like videos. I highly recommend giving them a push through YouTube because that works very well. So at least have a look at it. I think it's something that hasn't really been used by a lot of businesses. Now, the last strategy that I want to talk to you about is more about AI and automation. And I know AI is a very hot topic at the moment. There's a lot of people who basically want to jump on that and use Chat GPT to some degree. Hopefully, you guys are using it. If not, I strongly recommend to at least check it out. Unfortunately, a lot of people at universities and stuff use it for plagiarizing, but universities are using similar tools in order to monitor and filter those now as well. Anyway, let's jump into it. So the practical uses of AI, and look, it's been around for a little while right now, and it's obviously growing quite good, is all about saving time. You may be wanting to do, let's say, some data analysis or generate some content or write an email to somebody where you just want to provide some bullet points. Hey, write me an email based on, X, Y, Z, and create a call to action of Y. And the whole thing will give you, a piece of content within a matter of about 10 seconds. And then you can ask to rewrite by including certain things as well and end up with some pretty good information. Now, it's not a bad tool for time saving, but I think when it comes down to personalization, a lot of people may struggle with that. Another really cool thing I found is using AI for chatbots. Now, this is where you can pretty much plug in your ChatGPT into a number of tools to maintain a basic conversation with a potential customer based on them visiting your website and wanting to know more about your product or a service. Or basically, if you have got, let's say, an FAQ section on the website about frequently asked questions, you can actually connect the chatbot to that section and get the AI to basically point the person in the right direction if they're looking for an answer. I have seen a lot of the banks using something like that. In my opinion, it's probably still a little bit early days, but I think if you really do spend the time on training that chatbot, and if you're able to provide it with enough information, I have seen some really good ones that are actually able to do basic sales and actually, qualifying prospects works really, really well, which is my next point here. Qualifying is really more about asking questions. And a lot of the time, a person may be coming through to the website and they want a little bit of interaction. People are sort of getting a little bit impatient by submitting a form or basically trying to call, especially if it's after hours and they do realize they won't get an answer. But jumping into a chatbot and saying, okay, let's say I need asbestos removed. One of our customers does asbestos removal. So the chatbot basically assists with that by asking questions. Okay, so what do you need done? Okay, we have a wall, we have a roof. How big is it? Where are you located? So what happens is it can capture all that key data in order for the business owner then to be able to come back to that person by having all that information. So that's the qualifying process. And I think, creating that conversation, the engagement creates trust automatically. It's just really all about understanding what the expectations are from that conversation. Yes, a lot of people will pop the question about the price. How much does this cost? Or, when can you do it? And so on and so on. I probably wouldn't rely on the chatbot to go to that degree, but you could potentially capture all the information, say, hey, look, I'll pass this on to the business owner at their first availability. They will give you a call. When would be a good time? Like, you can really make it quite personal in order for the person to get a good user experience and at the same time get closer to the outcome. And believe me, you're probably one of the few companies doing this as opposed to some of your nearest competitors. And I guess planning. AI is very good at planning. In fact, I've seen quite a few people use it for their trips. If you are traveling to another country and you want to check out a few places and you're not familiar with it and you're not really sure what there is, try ChatGPT. Help me plan a trip to, I don't know, Kyoto in Japan. And it'll highlight all the main places to visit, and yeah, you'll be quite personable, believe me. And I guess this is something that potentially helps a lot of businesses evolve if you use tools like this correctly. Now, like I said, the end goal of this whole exercise is know, like, and trust. So people work with people. You can't buy from someone unless you actually know and like them. Look, okay, there may be some situations, but overall, when it comes to business, you get to know someone, you know what they do, you like them, and from there, you basically trust them. That's typically the flow. You can't trust someone before you like them. You can't know someone and like them. That's the base process. And look, this is quite fundamental. And while it's not rocket science, a lot of businesses fail to understand this when it comes to their marketing. And if you think about this and the marketing funnel in terms of awareness all the way down to conversion, hopefully, you understand where this idea comes from. So as a strategy, if you're looking for a strategy and want to use AI, this is where I recommend that you potentially start. Research your target market. AI is very good at that. So let's say if you run a business of, let's say, cosmetic clinic, ask ChatGPT about the target markets, because really what you want to do is be specific. While you may have a specific target market already, I think fragmenting it further into specific services to understand the pain points of the actual customers, or problems, if you like. Understand exactly who the competitors are, and if you're able to build a list of, let's say, your competitors or even potential partners, if you basically would like to utilize the partner event strategy that we outlined earlier, this can work really well. You can ask tools like ChatGPT about building a list of, let's say, dermatology clinics in Sydney, for example. He'll actually give you quite a few. Anyway, give it a crack. You can optimize your online presence and positioning. ChatGPT is very good at providing critique on your copy. And there's some other tools that actually allow you to have a look at the actual website and also spit out a few feedback about your page speed, about your visual optimization in terms of conversion rate, and so on and so on. And I think overall, you can basically run campaigns via social media and email, all based on AI. So you can actually get AI to help you build a plan, help you build the ads, write the copy, and then from there tie it into everything else. If you haven't done this, it's really cool. And I guess why I'm mentioning this now is that hopefully you understand with the Omni channel, it's the idea of having all the channels align with a message and really work together in terms of mapping the customer journey. So AI does this really beautifully. In the past, we had to do a lot of work for each individual channels, assuming the behavior of people. Now we're able to do it a lot easier. There's still challenges, but it saves you a lot of time. At least give it a crack, guys, because I think you'd be quite surprised. Lead qualifying. Now, I found that overall, people are getting more and more impatient. If someone submits an inquiry, or if someone's on Facebook, for example, sending a message and it's middle of the night, people expect to get a message pretty much straight away in return. Now, one of our customers is a company that does shipping containers. And interestingly enough, people want to inquire, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. about, cost of acquiring a shipping container or renting one out. And if you try to get back to them in the morning, 90% of those people never get back to you. So they're in this research mode. Obviously, the timing's right for those people. And unless you get back to them within 5 minutes, they're gone. So what we found is using automation through AI by potentially automating the chatbot mechanism, we are able to address the actual inquiry in the best way possible to qualify it. Because like I explained previously, it's really just about understanding what the person is after and get them as close as possible to that sale point. Obviously, providing a price isn't something that I would recommend, although it really depends, I guess, on the situation in the market. But I think if you are able to qualify that particular inquiry with a series of questions, you will personalize the whole experience for the customer and get it a lot more qualified for the actual salesperson as well. So, for example, where are you located? When will be a good time for us to chat? Are you inquiring on behalf of somebody else, and so on and so on? Like, there are questions that basically will get you closer to the actual inquiry, especially if you're in a situation like B2B marketing, where a lot of the time the inquiry is actually being made on behalf of the decision maker by their secretary or somebody else within the company as well. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, lead recycling and reputation. I think those things are probably not being addressed by majority of people. And if you've been in business for over 2 years, I've got news for you. You're probably sitting on a gold mine of inquiries from the past that haven't converted. Now, typically a conversion rate for a service-based business would be, anywhere between, 10 and 50%, which means that either, 50 or 90% of those inquiries are just sitting there, and obviously you haven't won the business, but the leads are still there, the contacts are still there rather. So what you can actually do is apply some conditional logic in order to be able to approach those contacts and basically try to get them into a conversation again. Where this has worked really well is in a case of insurance. Now, insurance leads, as you can imagine, are very expensive, and a lot of the time it's a price game. But what happens with insurance? It gets renewed every year. So if you had inquiries coming in last year, you could potentially do an SMS blast to those inquiries within a year's time, and you can automate this whole thing based on simple conditioning, contact them in 12 months. And basically pop the question, are you looking to review your policy, and so on and so on. And this is a very good way for you to get some instant opportunities based on the fact that a person 12 months ago, 2-3 years ago, whatever, has inquired about insurance. And I'm sure you understand this analogy, but every single business, like I said, when it comes to customer journey, is quite unique. And if you're able to identify that and apply lead recycling as a process, you can really win some work that you haven't won in the past. And obviously you can automate the whole thing either via SMS or email. I find SMS probably works the best, but there are a few caveats. You can use the same approach to get more reviews. I find that a lot of people really struggle with reviews, and to me, it's a little bit strange when you meet a business that's been around for, let's say, over 10 years, and they've got like 5 reviews in Google. I mean, that just doesn't align. I'm not sure about you, but subconsciously we make a lot of decisions based on what other people say. I think Google reviews really is a credible source of trust, which a lot of people use when it comes to restaurants, shops, and so on and so on. So if you were to automate the process of sending out an SMS to, let's say, past customers based on a particular milestone, you should be able to get more reviews than your competitors. So overall, I think it's just understanding about of what database you've actually got and the actual trigger to get them over the line. Maybe it's the moment you send your invoice that you could be sending an SMS message at the same time, given the fact that the job has been completed and it's the right timing to ask for a review. For me personally, I think the idea of lead recycling and addressing your reputation from the perspective of this mechanism is very much the same. But I think, if you're using a CRM, you hopefully understand the idea as to how you can get AI to help you execute this as well. Now, the systems that we use, in case you're wondering, is a system called High Level. There's obviously a bunch of other systems like HubSpot, Infusionsoft, which is now known Keep, Salesforce. There's a whole bunch of different ones. But at the end of the day, it's really more about managing your customers and managing the relationship with those customers. So those systems are called CRM, Customer Relationship Management Systems, and many of them have got a lot of automation built into them already. Now, what I like about Go High Level, it's one of those systems that has various modules disconnected from them, which is where you can actually connect via Zapier, which saves you a lot of money because tools like HubSpot are unfortunately very expensive. And if you run, let's say, a trades business, you've already got a subscription for, let's say, ServiceMate. Or if you're running a salon business, you may have like Simple Salon or Ketumba or Forest or, Shortcuts or something. It's important to be able to connect to another system is what I'm trying to say. Now, what I also like about High Level as opposed to other systems is that you have got this agency model where the agency is actually invested in helping you. So rather than signing up for HubSpot or Infusionsoft and then basically being at the mercy of being able to use it or getting the right people, High Level is actually supplied by an agency. So from that perspective, if you engage in High Level, typically it's the agency that helps you drive that as well. So it's a complete reverse. I also like the fact that they've got snapshots for industry. So if you run a gym or a beauty salon, you can actually load up a snapshot, which has got all your funnels, all your automations for SMS, and a whole bunch of recipes as well. And the recipe is something like this, where you've got conditional logic. Let's say someone inquires and they don't respond back in 2 minutes, then you could basically do various things like bridging a call. Now, what that means is that you could actually initiate a call to that person and connect it with the business owner based on a timing condition. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but I find that pretty awesome because it's all about timing when it comes to people inquiring. I mean, just imagine the amount of time a person has spent researching their problem and the solution to it. So by the time they inquire, you've really got about 5 minutes to be able to get in touch with them in order to have a really good conversation. And if you do this well, that puts you probably in the top 1% of all the businesses that are really handling the inquiries quite well. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, yeah, high level, if you really want to have a play with this, there's a scan right there that you could potentially use in order to get a 30-day free trial. This is one system that we back up as well. And it's really all about things like, CRM management, social media posting. There's actually an automated tool in there. Your email marketing, your reputation management, the whole thing is there. So if you're struggling with things like Google reviews, or if you want to do SMS marketing and so on, I highly recommend checking this out. I think 30-day trial really gives you a good opportunity to have a play with it. And if you sign up, obviously we'll get notified as well. So be happy to have a chat about Go High Level and how you can use it in your business. But it's super powerful. And this is the one tool that really allows a lot of businesses to grow faster. Now, if you find that some of this information today has been interesting and you want to have a chat, let's book a time. Love to have a chat to you about high level, give you a demo, and see if we could maybe work together in some way. We are always looking for partnership opportunities. So if you run another agency, or if you're a coach, or if you're someone who potentially is looking for an alliance partnership, always open for a conversation. And if you run a business and you want help with marketing campaigns, or you're running something already where you probably want better results, let's make a time and have a chat. I mean, I'm quite open to making a time and getting to know your business and what you do. Obviously, time is an issue, but I have no problem spending half an hour or so to meet you and see if I can point you in the right direction, or potentially help you with the marketing side of things as well. Now, I know we've covered a lot, but yeah, I've left some time for questions. So guys, if anyone's got any questions, let's open up the mics and yeah, see if there's anything we may want to discuss, because I know it's obviously been quite a lot of information. So, Belinda, can you hear us okay? Okay, Belinda may not be there. Teresa, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, no problem. So I think the information provided is amazing. So I guess just have to spend some time to digest it
Yep.
and looking for the tools.
Great, great. Well, look, if there's any if there's any issues or you're looking for help, feel free to reach out. I find things like omni-channel marketing can be quite complicated, but hopefully this gives you enough ideas in order to be able to explore it further, or potentially ask questions from your providers.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Excellent. Emma, can you hear us? Any questions? I know some of our attendees like to sort of listen on the go, so I'm not expecting an answer, but I'm just wanting to make sure that everyone gets some attention and has a chance to pop a question. Dimitri, can you hear us there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Awesome content there. I'll be looking into more the high level, the things we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot to digest.
Cool.
As
No
Teresa
worries.
said.
Yep. Well, we'll be sharing this recording within the next couple of days, but I just wanted to make sure that we tap into some questions, because a lot of the time people ask specific questions, and yeah, it's a bit difficult for me to know exactly what your situation is without obviously sharing. Okay, Kay, can you hear us okay then? Okay. Well, looks like that's pretty much it, guys. You're obviously making my life a lot easier, but hopefully you understand, I guess, the power of these marketing strategies. And it's really more about understanding the context of each specific business, because I find that a lot of people look at things quite generally. So guys, if you got any questions to follow up, or if you basically want to make a time with me, here are my contact details. And in fact, if you want a free copy of my book, which should be coming out soon, please shoot me an email and I'll organize one for you. Aside from that, I guess, yeah, look, for us, it's just about making sure that we can make a difference. And hopefully, webinars like this one do provide enough information in order for your business to embark on a journey that basically gets it better results. So anyway, my name is Alexei. If you want, I guess, more, webinars like this one or information, shoot me an email. I'll put you on my list, and I'd be more than happy to include you in my podcasts or potentially upcoming webinars as well. Thanks very much, guys, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.